Greetings, folks. My name is Rod Machado, and I'd like to answer one of the most common questions that student pilots have when they begin flight training. Now, I say this is a common question because after, nearly 5 decades in aviation with 46 years spent teaching others how to fly, I've heard this question over and over again. And the question is, what type of airplane should I use for primary flight training? You see, many students show up for flight training believing that they need to be trained in a 4-place, 4-seat airplane having such fancy avionics equipment that the cockpit looks like a TV showroom. After all, they say, if I don't learn to fly in an airplane with primary and multifunction flight displays, I'll never be able to handle the advanced avionics equipment that is, all the rage in today's newer airplanes. You see, if you believe that, then you might also believe that putting hand lotion in your airplane's fuel tank will make your landings smoother, softer, and much younger looking. Because that's simply not true. So, consider this. When you begin your training to become either a private pilot or a sport pilot, your sole objective should be focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is to learn how to fly. Nothing is more important than that single objective. Learning how to fly while simultaneously learning how to operate fancy avionics equipment is an added distraction that will, most likely prolong your flight training and increase the cost of that training as well. And anything that does that makes it less likely that you'll eventually become a sport or private pilot. And I've seen this happen over and over again, and you don't want to become a victim of the, I need to be a high-tech pilot in order to be a safe pilot mentality. The fact is that once you become a private or sport pilot, you can easily transition into any airplane with advanced avionics quickly and cheaply. After all, there are many brands of software that, they allow you to study the use of primary flight displays and multifunction displays on your computer or iThingy in the comfort of your own home while wearing a bathrobe and a hairnet. This just makes it easier and less expensive for you to transition to advanced avionics after becoming a private or a sport pilot. So, keep in mind that the moment you walk into a flight school and announce that you're there to become a pilot, all the flight instructors in the room will pounce on you like a duck on a June bug, and they will most likely try their best to convince you to train in an airplane having fancy avionics equipment. Why? Because everyone operates on an incentive system, and the incentive system of the average flight instructor is to fly fancy, sexy, sophisticated airplanes, especially when someone else is paying the bill. That's very important to consider. You see, another thing of equal importance to consider is that you don't need to fly a 4-seat airplane to become a private pilot. This is just another big misconception in aviation, perhaps on the order of believing that the Iron Age was a time when people wore neatly pressed clothing. It wasn't. The fact is that 4-seat airplanes typically cost more to rent than 2-seat machines, and sometimes as much as several $100s an hour more if they're equipped with advanced avionics equipment. And if you want to know what it's like to have a large aorta going directly to your wallet, draining it of all your money, this is it. Your flight training bills will run up quickly when flying one of these airplanes. So, let me distill 48 years of aviation experience down into a single sentence of advice on this topic. Are you ready for it? Learn to fly in the simplest, smallest 2-place airplane you can find, period. If it has standard round dial instrumentation or at least, one of the simpler primary flight displays, then all the better for you. Why? As a general rule, to fly smaller airplanes, you have to more fully develop your, wait for it, stick and rudder skills, otherwise known as attitude flying skills, during primary training. And these are the skills that will serve you well throughout a lifetime of flying. Nothing is more important than developing good stick and rudder skills when first learning to fly. Nothing. It is so important. After all, nearly 50% of our aviation accidents results from pilots not being able to successfully control their airplane. In other words, not having good stick and rudder skills. And that's a fact. You see, smaller airplanes are conducive to learning these skills, assuming, of course, that you have a good instructor capable of training you in these skills. Yes, it's true. You can learn to fly in any airplane, big or small, fancy or not, and still be a safe pilot. However, some airplanes are simply better than others for training, in my opinion. And if you can learn in a Piper Cub, a Cessna 150, a Pipistrel, a sport cruiser, or, well, some other airplane of the light sport variety, then you'll serve yourself well for the rest of your flying career. And that's my advice to you, and I hope you listen to it carefully. It served me well for many, many years and helped many students become private and sport pilots. I've been Rod Machado, and may you always land as soft as a butterfly with sore feet.